So I've turned up the internet for my house. I can't access any website. I can't browse anything else. I mean, look right there, unreachable, but I can still control the light. Turn on media room light switch. Still very fast. Turn off media room light switch. Now that is the power of local control. Nothing connects to the cloud, nothing connects to the internet.
What's up guys? Today I'm doing a much needed upgrade. I've been running Wi-Fi smart switches for years inside of my home, and while they have been reliable, I'm moving towards a local first philosophy. One of the biggest reasons I'm switching to Thread is to finally decongest my Wi-Fi network. Now think about it. There's absolutely no reason your light switches should be competing for bandwidth with your phone, laptops, and streaming devices within your home. So by moving the switches to their own Thread mesh network, I'm essentially freeing up that bandwidth for things that actually matter and require that bandwidth. In this video, I'll show you how I swap my existing smart switches for these smarter enabled ones from Eve. Before we start to touch wires, we have to talk about safety first. This is very important, so do not skip it. Head over to your electrical panel breaker and shut off the circuit you plan to be working on. Once you think the power is off, you need to verify it. I personally use a non-contact voltage tester. If you put this near a live wire, it chirps or glows red if it is hot. But before we pull the old switch out, we actually need to use this tester to identify our wires. Now this is where the terminology comes in. First, we need to find the line wire. This is your incoming power from the electrical panel. Even when the light switch is off, this wire stays live. Carefully pull the switch out, turn the breaker back on for just a second and see which wire makes your tester light up. Now that is your line. The other main wire is the load. This is the outgoing power that goes directly to your light fixture. If the switch is off, this wire shouldn't have any power. In an hallway or a room where two switches control the same light fixture, you see two travelers. Now these are the bridge wires that carry electricity between the two switch boxes. One side of the switch is the load side, which connects directly to the light fixture, and the other side is the line side, which has the wire that comes directly from the panel. And then there is the neutral. It completes the electrical loop by carrying the electricity back to the electrical panel. It is not used by a regular mechanical switch, but smart switches require it. Smart switches need to stay powered on at all times, so the neutral wire is what helps with that. You can find the bundle, usually white wires tucked in the back of the box. And finally, the ground. This bare copper wire is strictly for safety. Instead of shocking you or starting a fire, it sends any stray electricity straight into the ground. Smart switches are notoriously bulky, and these Eve models have their own pigtail wires attached, which takes up even more room. To get a perfect fit, I'm ditching the traditional wire nuts for this wiggle lever style nuts. They are much flatter and let you tuck the wire bundles deep into the back of the box in a Z shape. I also trimmed down any excess wire length. You don't want 6 inches of copper fighting for space back there. The standard Eve on-off switch is incredibly flexible right out of the box. It comes with 5 pre-attached wires. You have 2 red traveler wires for multi-way configuration, 1 black wire that handles line or load, a white neutral, and your green ground. If you're doing a single switch setup, meaning one switch controls one light, you only need 4 of those wires. I usually start with the ground cable because it can be a pain to reach once the other wires are in the way. Then take one of the red traveler wires and connect it to your load wire. That's the one going to your light fixture. Next, connect the white neutral wire to your neutral bundle. Connect the black wire on the Eve to your incoming line wire in the box. Now since this is a single pole setup, the second red traveler isn't needed. Just cap it off with the wire nuts to keep it safe. Now let's talk multi-way setups, like when you have switches at both ends of a hallway. Technically you only need to replace one switch to make the circuit smart. The Eve is designed to work perfectly alongside your existing dumb mechanical switch. But if you're like me and want a consistent, clean look across the wall, you can absolutely install an Eve switch on both ends. In a 3-way setup, remember that one box is the line side, that is bringing the power from the panel, and the other side is the load side going up to the light. The 2 traveler wires are just the bridge between them. The beauty of this switch is that you don't need to stress about which traveler wire is which. On the line side, Start with your ground. Connect your 2 traveler wires in the wall to the 2 red wires on the switch. Again, the order doesn't matter. The switch is smart enough to figure it out. Connect your incoming power to the black wire on the eave, and finally connect the neutral wire bundle. On the load side, it is exactly the same process, except this time you're connecting the wires going to your light fixture to the black wire on the eave switch. Now, the eave dimmer is a bit of a specialist. Giving you that smooth brightness control adds a layer of complexity to the wiring. So, there are 2 golden rules you need to know before you even crack open the box. Rule number 1. In a multi-way setup, the other switch has to stay a standard mechanical switch. You cannot use 2 eave dimmers to control the same light. Rule number 2. The eave dimmer must be installed in the box on the load side. Now that's the box with the wire going directly up to your light fixture. For a single wall setup, 1 switch, 1 light, it's actually very straightforward. You're going to use every wire in the eave except for the blue one. Connect the black wire on the eave to your line, connect the red wire to your load, neutral and ground go to their respective bundles. Since you don't need a traveler here, just cap off that blue wire with a nut and you're done. Things get much more interesting when we move to a multi-way configuration. Since we have to keep a mechanical switch on the other end, we need to understand how those old school switches actually work. Traditionally, they physically flip power back and forth between the 2 traveler wires. The standard eave on and off switch can handle this because it can sense power on either wires. But the dimmer is different. To handle precise dimming and stay connected to thread, this switch needs a dedicated constant power source. It can't chase the power back and forth. If the mechanical switch flips and sends power to the wrong traveler, the dimmer basically gets unplugged and drops off your network instantly. So to fix this, we have to repurpose our travelers. In my wall, I have a red and a black traveler wire. Over in the box with the mechanical switch, I'm going to take the black traveler and connect it directly to the line wire. What this does is create a permanent power highway. It sends electricity straight through to the other box regardless of what position the mechanical switch is in. Back at the eave dimmer box, that black wire is now live 24/7, so we connect it to the black live wire on the eave switch. Now this gives the dimmer the rock solid power it needs to stay online. Now that leaves us with the red traveler. We connect this to the blue wire on the eave dimmer. Now this becomes our dedicated signal wire. It's how the dimmer hears what the mechanical switch is doing. With the wiring finished, we need to do a quick operational test before closing everything up. Go ahead and flip the breaker back on. You want to verify 2 things. First, if you're in a multi-way setup, toggle both switches to make sure they stay in sync. Second, if you're installing the dimmer, press and hold to ensure it fades and brightens smoothly without any flickering. Once the physical side is solid, we move up to the app configuration. Since these are matter over thread devices, you will need a border router to get them on your network. And that's going to be something like an Apple HomePod, an Apple TV 4K, or a Google Nest Hub. My workflow is simple. I scan the QR code directly into our HomeKit first. Once it's paired there, I can instantly share the credentials to Home Assistant and Google Home. This gives me total control across every platform I use without being locked into a single ecosystem. And the best part is, it's 100% local. Your switches aren't relying on commands through some distant cloud servers. As long as your home network is up, this will function perfectly even if your internet connection goes down. Now turn the breaker back off for safety. The tricky part is often fitting everything back into the box. I like to accordion fold the wires neatly and push the bundles firmly to the back before sliding the switch in. This prevents pinching and saves space. For the finish, I'm using this oversized Decora style faceplate. They hide any drywall imperfections around the box and give the setup a much cleaner, modern look compared to a standard size. But honestly, the beautiful thing about smart home tech isn't just turning on lights with your phone or shouting at a voice assistant, it's automation. When you combine these switches with other devices like the Eve motion sensor or the Eve smart plug, you unlock the real magic. You can set lights to trigger based on presence, but then layer on conditions. For example, only turn the hallway lights on if motion is detected, if it's after sunset and the room is currently dark. Now that's the difference between a remotely controlled home and a truly smart home. Having a native Matter support isn't just nice to have, it's a massive advantage. I don't have to pick a side or settle for a single app. I get the local speed and the power of Home Assistant, the ease of use of Apple Home, and the voice control of Google all working together simultaneously. If you're moving towards a local first smart home and you want to reclaim your Wi-Fi bandwidth for devices that actually need it, this matter over thread setup is one way to go about it. It is private, fast, and most importantly, it keeps your house running even when the internet doesn't feel like cooperating. I've dropped a link to this switch in the description if you'd like to check them out for your own build. Thanks for sticking through the technical bits with me today, especially that tricky 3-way jumper configuration. If you have any questions about the wiring or how this are holding up on my network long term, drop a comment down below. I'll see you in the next one.